Welcome back to another episode of Yachting Unplugged, where we bring you the news from the bow and beyond, yachting and boating news from around the world every week, every Monday, that is.
Yeah, here we go. And this week we've got an explosive new episode to bring to you.
We have an explosive episode. My name is Kim Sweers, the boat boss. I'm here with Rick Thomas from Yachting USA, and we are at Yachting International Radio here. And
we have
a lot to discuss.
We do. You know, this is a conversation we had leading into this because, we are aware of some events here we talked about in the last couple episodes with boats blowing up. And that's a real thing. I thought about that yesterday. I brought my boat to the fuel dock and pumped a whole bunch of gasoline.
Everybody's mind right now.
90 octane, fuel. And there's right ways or wrong ways and all of that. But I think something to be really paying attention to is we just heard yesterday about an explosion in Turkey.
Yes,
so it's not just happening here in the States.
Yes, no, it's definitely hit across the pond, but in Bojum, there was a third time this manufacturer's vessels have exploded.
It's an axopar, to be clear. And, we've had a couple axopars here in Florida ignite and having a couple people have lost their lives. And so I think it's important to point out that this particular boat, they're identifying a fuel bleed fitting as the potential culprit. And in the fuel system, it's necessary. It bleeds out any air that gets into the fuel system before it gets to the injector rack, which allows the engine to operate properly, smoothly, reliably. It's part of the system. But if that fitting is not installed right, or if it's not tightened properly, the fuel coming through at a pressure will atomize and it will put fuel vapors into that compartment.
Not a good mix at all.
No, you add any point of combustion, whether it's a hot exhaust manifold or ignition spark, and she'll go up. So
all three people on board lived. Thank God. They're all hospitalized, but they are alive. So we'll definitely keep our ear and report that news back to you.
But if you got that boat, you might have a technician check it out.
Absolutely, for sure. We're going to talk about that after we go through our list. But there was also bring back home to South Florida. There was
Sunny Beach.
Yes, 5 a.m. in the morning. We had 6 boats. One boat caused 5 others, and that boat to catch on fire.
And I have no idea what necessarily started that, but a 5 a.m. morning incident. A long time ago, someone gave me some very good advice. Rick, turn off the batteries to your boat when you're done. You got battery switches, turn them off. You leave them on, you have the potential of an ignition source. And so something as simple as potentially batteries left on, providing a source of ignition could be the culprit for something like that, because it's, not necessarily likely you've got people on board at 5 a.m.
And the smoke was billowing. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Not a good way to wake up in the morning to that, for sure. So on that note, we wanted to talk about the Coast Guard Auxiliary here. I know in South Florida, you've experienced it. They do offer a come out and inspect.
It's a free service, and it's available anywhere in the United States. So essentially, you can reach out to your U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary office. They'll send out a Coast Guard Auxiliary individual who'll come to your boat and will give you a courtesy inspection. They'll give you a list of deficiencies. You won't get your sticker until those deficiencies are corrected. For instance, when I had my boat done, my fire extinguishers still read in the green. They were good, but they were 2 years old. They expired.
Wow.
So I had to replace the fire extinguishers, and we were good. By the way,
so it is free of charge, which is awesome.
Free of charge.
So just be aware of that.
Right.
So contact your local Coast Guard Auxiliary group. They'll come out and they'll certify your boat. Definitely, we all need to do that. But there was one more explosion I forgot to mention. Not an explosion. A 89 passenger tourist vessel
foundered and sank.
Yeah, crazy in Bali.
Yeah, did you see the video of that?
No, I didn't.
There's a video out there. You guys love YouTube. Go look for it.
I heard they weren't wearing any life jackets.
They were like, there was like ants, climbing on top of a sinking ship. Literally, that's what was going on. And no, you would clearly notice that there was no life jackets, no PDFs,
PDFs, one of those.
Oh, goodness gracious, yeah. But fortunately, it sank in shallow water. Everybody was rescued. I heard
it was by the shoreline. Yeah, it's incredible. But I'm glad no one lost their life there. But back to boating safety. Get your boating safety certificate. It's a course that's online. There's free courses and there's ones that you can pay. But National Safe Boating Council.org has all of the courses online.
Right. And I'm going to tie all this into something I'm about to do exactly 1 week from today. is I'm taking a group of people to the Bahamas on my boat. I've got a 32-foot center console boat. I'm taking 8 people over with a bunch of gear, and we're going to spend the week over there. And so what have I been doing this last week or two?
Get your boat ready.
I've got my boat ready. I got the new sunshade installed. I've checked all of my life jackets. I've got 13 life jackets on board, enough for everybody.
Nice.
I've got throwable devices, plus I just made a throwable device on a polypro line that I can throw to somebody in the water. 2 fire extinguishers replaced, they're good. Batteries checked, they're good. Electrical system checked, engines checked. That's what you need to do when you know you're going to be on the water with your boat for a period of time. Take the extra effort and time to get the little things done, because little things start the funnel of failure, they turn into big things.
Well, they say boat smart from the start, so you're getting a head start on that.
Right. And we'll, at the end of the show, talk about the Piper's Angels Foundation. It's a great cause to donate to. It's something I do every year. This will be our 4th trip over. It's for cystic fibrosis research and treatments, not cure. Different kind of program. It's a wonderful organization, and we're happy to be part of it again this year.
Well, summertime means lots of sun
and
fun. Exactly. It also means skin cancer awareness. So folks, get protection, wear the protection, get checked. Obviously, I see you have some issues going on.
Just this last week, I went back to my derm. I go twice a year. He told me that anybody living here in South Florida with the exposure we have, over time, you're going to get these things. And if you get ahead of them right away, they become a non-issue. You end up with a little war wound, a little reminder of the fact that you have so much fun in the sun. But yeah, it's really important to
get checked. Super important. All right, moving on to market news. We have a lot of good stuff coming on. I saw some great news this week. Motor Yacht Luna.
I love that boat.
Right? Is on the market. I love it. 114 meter, 374 feet.
She was built by Lloyd Werft in Germany.
Yes.
I was part of that build. I'm happy to say I worked with some great people over in Germany while I was with Nautical Structures. Cool thing that this is a Northern European German-built expedition
The
yacht.
second largest one in the world.
Amazing boat. And this got some really cool made in the USA equipment that was made right here in Florida and shipped to Germany. And it's just a really cool boat. It's a go anywhere yacht that can bring you expedition, 2 helidecks on board.
Right, yeah. And it has 9 staterooms and accommodates 51 crew members. That's massive.
Yeah, no, it's a big boat. It's a big boat.
And I heard it has a dance floor, a lot of great features. So that is on the market. And interesting story behind it. You know, it was caught up in a tumultuous divorce and then seized by the authorities, I believe, in Germany. So it's had a lot of history, but she's a beautiful boat and definitely one to look at, to consider.
Yeah, talk to your broker, see if you can get that deal lined up.
That's right. Call the boat boss. All right, moving on. We have the 119-meter Breakthrough built by Fedship.
Fedship Van Lent Shipyard.
That one basically, I don't know if that's actually, it's been sold. Rumor has it was Bill Gates's boat, but it recently sold to Patrick Dovigi, the CEO of Green for Life Environmental.
He was a hockey player before he took that on.
For $650 million, which is definitely.
So another fun fact.
Yes, tell me.
Tristan and I were in Amsterdam in November for the Super Yacht Forum in the Mets. And a friend of mine that works with Van Lent invited us over. We got a stem to stern, top to bottom tour of that yacht.
Wow.
Amazing. I actually got to put my hands on the cryogenic hydrogen tanks, because this boat is a hybrid technology hybrid fuel system. So it carries pressurized cryogenic hydrogen on board.
Yeah, it says it's the first of a kind to integrate a 3.2 megawatt hydrogen fuel cell system generating electricity through a non-combustion process with water as the only byproduct.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is a really cool technology. And I do know that Fedship worked with the owner and with the supplier of the hydrogen fuel cells in a collaborative effort to develop this technology. So good on all three of these to make that happen.
Yeah, and then we had the rollout of the Valhalla and Viking. They're also doing a lot of innovative fuel alternatives, so I'm really excited to see.
In years to come, we're going to see more and more of this. There'll be a trickle-down effect from these really big yachts. It's going to bring this technology into smaller boats.
Well, bringing it back home to here to South Florida, Twin V, which is also Aqua Sports, they recently acquired Bahama Boat Works. So that should be an interesting combination. They're all joining forces to.
It's good to see the consolidation.
Right,
That
yes.
shows some optimism in the industry and kind of creates a stronger base to work from.
Yeah. So congratulations, Joseph, the CEO, and his entire team. Sunseeker, moving on to Sunseeker. They're doing well. Sales are on the rise. I'd like to hear that. They're one of my favorite brands, particularly after being acquired by their recent company. It was Orienta Capital Partners, and Lionheart Capital recently acquired them.
Right. They were, I believe, Chinese owned. They're a brand that's built in the UK, in England. And they've gone through some tumultuous times over the last decade or so. But I think this is bringing ownership back into the country and closer into the hands of the people that are actually building the boats. I think it's a win for everybody on that one.
Well, the sales are big, according to them. I mean, right, EBITDA jumped over 470%.
Wow, that's real.
Yes, that's incredible. So congratulations, Sunseeker. Whatever you're doing, keep it up.
Keep it up, that's for sure.
I need to teach a master class or something. All right, boat shows are coming down the pipe quickly.
Already,
yes.
Wow.
I know we're already talking about, the shows and who's going to be in it, who's not going to be in it. And
Yeah.
the news, the Heeson group came out with, you want to share that? That was
huge.
interesting.
Yeah, they mentioned that in Monaco. Is it this year, Monaco?
I believe it is.
Okay.
It said 20, they were drawing for its on-land stands from the 2025
That's this year.
Monaco and Fort Lauderdale boat shows.
All right, I have to talk to Mr. Tom Conboy about that and see how he's going to be hanging out in Monaco this year.
Right.
But yeah, Heeson always had the anchor stand at the very end of that whole row of builders in Monaco. All the Northern European shipbuilders have their own section in the show. But now they're going to put their boats in the marinas, apparently, outside of the show.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to basically adopt a yacht-centric presence,
We'll have to,
focusing exclusively on showcasing vessels in the water.
well, that's where they belong. That's where they live.
Right.
So it's not a bad place to go see them.
Land was built for yachts to visit, as
That's
they
right.
say. So they're going back to their true habitat.
Now, I'd be curious to see if they start a trend at these shows where, because these are expensive shows to
They
go
are.
into. So if you're able to save some of that expense and put that towards providing a guest experience, you may end up with a better ultimate program there. I think that's
I mean,
to be
personally,
seen.
I think that you're going to get the more serious buyers and not those that are there for the party aspect of it.
That's a
when you
good
think
point.
about it,
Yeah,
so many people just go to the parties just for the great champagne and just the experience
the
itself
experience,
with
right?
no
But
intention to buy.
they're not in the game at all to acquire.
Might be a little pre-qualification, a little bit more of that on. I can see that happening.
So yeah, I'll be curious though if the other big builders follow suit.
But they said in place of traditional hospitality area or trade stands, they will showcase its wares directly in the marina. So I'm not sure what that means, but time will tell. This move aims to deliver a hands-on experience, allowing the yachts to speak for themselves.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll report back to you as we know more about this. And but the boat shows are coming.
Con is coming up.
I've got
That
my
is
tickets
September.
to go to Monaco for the Monaco show, and it'd be good to be back there again this year.
Yeah, it should be great.
Yeah.
It was September 9th to the 14th is a con show every year. There's lots of boats there, 700 plus boats
that is
from
a boutique show.
5 meters to 50 plus meters.
Yeah, I think it's a nicer show to visit. Kind of like Palm Beach is to Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
Con is to Monaco.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That helps you with the
like
vibe
that
a little
analogy.
bit.
Right, we have IBACs coming up. I'm a
Yes.
big fan of IBACs because I have a service department and builders are there. Suppliers are just everywhere.
And
It's
we're
such
going to
a
have a
great show.
studio set up there, Kim. So we'll be able to bring you content
Great.
from that show.
Yes.
And have some interviews with interesting people, interesting products that are at the show.
Can't wait.
this year.
October 7th to the 9th in Tampa, Florida. Get your rooms now because it's such a great place. There's so many hotels right around there, so book that early.
Absolutely.
All right, we have some awards. We have the applications are open for the 2026 Ocean Tribute Award. And the award, which we handed out at the Dusseldorf show in January. So it recognizes efforts in the marine conservation space.
Love that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's always good to pay it forward.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer in that, as you know.
That's right, I know. All right, people in the news. Let's do it. Let's talk about
Right.
Cox Marine. Cox Marine is a great company.
They're an outboard manufacturer of diesel outboards, which is interesting.
Yep.
They're built in the UK, I think.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. And they're coming out with a 350 horsepower V8
Right.
outboard diesel motor.
Yeah. The 300 horsepower has been like the sweet spot.
Yep.
There's another couple manufacturers that have been building a 300 horse. The 350 just takes it up a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
I repowered a yacht tender. It was a 38-foot Jupiter 2 years
Nice
ago
boat.
with those engines, and really good performance curve, a lot of torque. Loses a little bit on the high end. We sacrificed 5 or 8 mile-an-hour speed, but at the end of the day,
when you talk about the fuel side of it, I mean, you're not carrying gas on a boat.
boom. This is an explosive show, right?
Yeah.
And that's well. The other piece of it too is if you're using your boats as a yacht tender, the yachts carry tens of thousands of gallons of diesel fuel bunkered. So if you're able to fuel up your tenders with the bunker you've got for your main engines,
absolutely,
you're golden.
No, I agree. Insurance carriers like to hear that for sure.
Too. Absolutely.
So back to Cox, the new leadership changes are going to take place July 1st of this year. Current CEO Gavin Wesson will move into the role of non-executive chairman, which is interesting. He's going to continue to provide strategic oversight. And their current CFO, George Bramley, he will be moving into the chief executive officer role. So wish them both the best.
Right, Gavin, George, good stuff.
Right, and James Eatwell, who has served in various technical roles during the decade he's been at Cox, has been appointed chief technology officer. So so congrats to all three of them, and Cox, we only wish you the best.
Fantastic.
All right, well, what are you doing for Father's Day?
What am I doing for Father's Day? I'm getting ready to go to the Bahamas.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So let's share with the group, like if you were to, some dad gift ideas.
You know what?
We all need them.
I tell you what, besides say a really nice meal at a restaurant or a good cigar, I mean, maybe boat stuff. I can always use a new rash guard or a nice hat or
wash bucket, maybe.
Hey, you know what? Tristan would like that wash bucket.
Garmin watch.
Yes, ma'am.
It integrates with your.
Yeah, we need that
right, we all
Garmin
need
watch,
the watch,
right? Absolutely.
Well, wishing you a happy Father's Day, and all the dads out there, happy Father's Day. This is a show, like I said, that we produce every Monday. It is Monday, June 9th. We wish all of you an epic week ahead. Happy Father's Day. And whatever you do, always boat smart from the start, because it's not worth it to cut corners, right?
No, not at all. And I'll be thinking of you guys while I'm in the Bahamas next week. We'll set up another show that we'll pre-record before I leave.
Excellent. Okay.
And we'll have some good, safe fun on the water.
And if you have any news, folks, please reach out to Rick or myself on social. You can find us or just text us. I'm sure a lot of us, we're so out there. All you can do is just Google us.
If you've got something really interesting, talk to us. Maybe we'll bring you on the show one day.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely need to address the fire explosions and things like that we've been really seeing every week on the news.
We've got a special coming up. I'm not going to share too much yet, but I'm working with Resolve Marine.
Excellent.
And we're going to make a little demonstration.
Okay.
That should be explosive.
I'll make sure I put my hair back with glasses on.
No, we're going to do that in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, good. I'm excited for it. All right, everyone. Have an epic week, and happy Father's Day again to all the dads. And we look forward to seeing you on the water.
Take care. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.